Well, hey YouTube, Petey Two Finger here. So I wanted to show you guys this project I'm working on. I've got this case. Put these speaker jacks in here. Remove the handle. There was a handle on it. So this mixer is going to sit on top of here. We got this mixer for 23 bucks. One of the channels is blown. And we don't need 10 channels. We don't really only need 6. So it's a 10 channel board with one blown channel, so that's 9 channels. So I'm going to put some straps on here where these screws are. There'll be little metal straps that come down with nuts and bolts to hold it on each side. So this mixer is going to sit on top of this case, which is going to have the MP3 player in it and the amplifier. So here's the amp. It's twice as powerful as the amp we're using right now. It's rated at 150 watts per channel and 300 watt output for the sub. So here's right channel, left channel, and sub, 48 volt input, and I put these standoffs on it, so I've got to mount this inside this case. Volume, treble speaker volume or satellite speaker volume, tone or treble. It's let's see. Bass volume, so that's speaker for the subwoofer. Treble control. Satellite speaker volume, master volume. So this is the power amp. It's 48 volts. We've been using this lithium-ion power pack that's for an e-bike. And I bought a transformer, a large, it was like $15 for this kind of big, and it steps down 48 to 24. And I was just thinking, we don't need that. Like, I was starting to think, like, why are you doing that? Just get a little more powerful, power amp that'll run on 48 volts, and then you won't have to worry about that stupid transformer. So inside of this, there's going to be, I got to drill out the holes for the volume knobs, and then there'll be an MP3 next to it. A little black plastic plate where you put the SD card in, and then we'll have a jack. There'll be a power switch. There'll be a jack for a line, a foot switch. The foot switch is soldered in on the play pause control. So we put the tracks on the SD card, put the SD card in the MP3 player, and then I can pause and play that with my foot when we perform. This is something I built. We have one already. It's just the board isn't as good and the amp isn't as good. So this is what I'm building this year to upgrade our setup, and this is going to be it. I ain't upgrading anymore. There's going to be 2 lithium-ion power packs in here to power the mixing board, and there's going to be 1 to power the MP3 player. So there'll be a power switch for that, and a power switch for, I gotta watch the amount of power switches I put on here. Typically a power switch will have 2 switches, like it's a DP-DT, so 1 switch can power 2 things. So I'll probably have 1 switch to turn on the 48 volts and the it's like a dual 9 volt. It's almost like I need 1 DP-DT switch just for the power on the mixer, because there's 2 battery packs. They're 12 volts. They will use 3 of these. See, my math on this, I really don't know how long these batteries are going to last. I read that this is what is going to make a 9 volt power pack. This is 12 volts, but there'll be a voltage regulator dropping it down to 9. Now, I read that a 9 volt alkaline lasts 3 hours in this mixer. It runs off of 2. There is a third 9 volt alkaline battery in this mixer that is for if you use phantom power, which we will not be using that. So you take this screw out here, this panel lifts off, and then there's 3 spots for 9-volt batteries. You can run it only off of 2. The third one is just for the phantom power, and we're not using that. So I will put 2 battery clips, 9-volt clips, and drill this out so that this wires come out here, and then drill a hole in the lid of this box. Those wires will go through there. And then this is going to be, I'll use metal tape and put strips to bolt it down to affix it to this box. So you'll have a switch to turn the battery pack on. I was gonna not do a switch, but I'm looking at this and it looks like this is gonna easily get bumped in transport. So I probably will have a switch for the just like a regular little toggle, DP/DT. And well, if I run out of room, I can always put switches on the side. It's something I don't like to do. I could always put the switch, on the top panel. There's this. Let's see, how is this going to go? Okay. This top panel here. I could put switches up there. So yeah, it isn't a concern. There'll be a master power switch, there'll be a small power switch for the mixer, and another one just to turn on the power for the MP3 switches. So I got to wire all this up. There's 2 voltage regulator circuits that I got from eBay for like 75 cents. I usually make them with a 7809 voltage regulator, and then I put a 1000 microfarad cap capacitor on the output, and then like a 104 or a 0.1 microfarad on the input. These were like little circuits, and they have a set and forget trimmer, like a 25 turn trimmer. And what you do, you hook it up and then you put a meter on it and you turn that trimmer to you get your desired voltage. So I'm going to use those. I was thinking I'm going to make a frame out of some card stock, like cut up a cereal box and masking tape and make a little cubicle, a tiny little cubicle, and fill that with hot glue. So these voltage regulators are going to be encased in hot glue, and they're just going to probably be JB welded or bouncing around in there. Who knows how I'll do it. But the amp board has standoffs that are going to be screwed in through the bottom, and then it's tightened at the front with the pots are tightened in, so that holds the amp. And then I can use screws to fasten the. A lot of times I'll use hot glue, and I'll hot glue the battery sleds to cardboard, and then hot glue the cardboard to the base. So it's just double hot glued. But yeah, pretty much external 48 volt e-bike battery pack. It's this big pack that's going to power the power amp, which is twice the power that we normally have. I told you we're going to get rid of that transformer. And then this mixer, powered off the internal battery pack, will have a couple of RCA cables coming out of the back here, coming up. And those will be from the MP3 player. So then, when we get to this place where we play, my wife has a 25-foot cable with a 90 on it, and I'll just plug that in one. I'll come over here on this channel, plug in here, right and left, line in. And I have another set of these 90s. I got some plastic ones, and I got some gold ones that just came in. So yeah, that's the project. The mixing board, I had looked for it. It's called a Behringer Xenix 1002B, and it's got the battery option. And they were always like 90 used or something. Like, come on, man. And I found one for 47. And I was like, will you hold it for me? It was on my birthday because I had lost an auction on shopgoodwill.com for a really nice Roland Adderall mixer that had all this digital stuff. It was like a $500, like a 10 channel board. Beautiful battery board. And so I was just dejected because I won that auction and then somebody overbid me in the last 2 seconds. Some dirtbag with sniping software got me and paid like $68 for it. Because I bid high. It was a $28 bid and I put $67.67. Lucky number. Not so lucky. So the next day, that night after I lost the auction, I found this. It was in Maryville, Indiana, which is like an hour. It's like 45 minutes away if you take the highway. And I was like telling my wife, I'm like, there's a good chance somebody's going to buy this board. And she's like, well, just buy it. So I bought it. And then we drove down there. As soon as I bought it, I'm like, what did I do? There's no way this thing works. Guitar Center used, it's just always broken. So I brought I brought this case, and I put a microphone, some headphones, a bunch of cables and connectors, power supplies, a tone generator, MP3 player, all this stuff. And they were like, what's with that case? And I was like, well, I'm buying a used mixer, and I'm going to test it. And the one dude, when they checked me out, he was like, he goes, oh, it works fine. I was like, what? And he goes to his buddy, hey, Franklin, you tested this mixer when it came in and made sure everything was working, correct? And then Franklin goes like that. And I was like, yeah, that's great, but I'm going to test it out. And I went over there and plugged it in. And check, 1, 2, this channel's fine. Check, whoa, this channel's completely blown. How about that? So we took it apart. Looked at it. Nothing looked out of the ordinary. There wasn't any cold solder joints. It was SMT, meaning tiny. It's not through-hole electronics, so it's probably a blown op amp. And I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to worry about it because I don't need that channel. So they gave us the mixer for half off. Paid $23 for the board. The power amp, I think, was $30 or $35. So I'm really excited about this project. This is going to be one where I just love making these. I really do. I love making amps, and I love making these powered mixers that I've made, because I've made 3 of them now. There was a rudimentary one that I made that we only used a couple times, and I mean, it worked fine. And then I was like, I got this idea to use a real board instead of this. It was a mixing board that came out of a machine that you use to convert Super 8 movies to VHS, and it had a little 9-volt audio mixer, and that's what we were using. This little panel mixer, op amp mixer, that I had cut in on top of one of these boxes, put the power amp in there with the MP3 player, and hooked it all up, and it worked fine. It's just that, I'm looking at it and thinking, well, for a little bit more money, if I could find a used board, and the thing that with what we're using now, the monoprice board is just, it runs off 12 volts. This is bipolar 9 and 9. So it's twice the headroom. And this other one, it's plastic. And we're moving it, we're unplugging everything, taking it out, bringing it back, plugging everything in, and I'm like, we use it here. Like, there's a effects loop that I've going to this Behringer reverb machine pedal set on this Echo, and we use that on our mix, and I really like it. So it's kind of complicated to take all the connections out and then replug them in every time we have a gig. It's plastic, and it has a USB recording interface built in. So, and we use that. And I want to start using it for demos. How long does it take me to realize, hey, dummy, it's right here. Just use that. Plug the headphones in, plug your multi-effector into that thing, or it's already plugged into it. Just play and record that way. So in order to protect that one, which has all this built into the bottom of it, it's got an amp and an MP3, which we don't even use. So that'll be a backup. And if something does blow on this she'll be able to fly home here and grab the old one and bring it out. But it's going to stay, that one's going to stay here and sit. And we're going to have this new one. It's twice as powerful, the amp is. It's twice as power. And I mean, the old amp ran on 24 volts. The new one runs on 48. So yes, it's twice as powerful. You dig? And also we're going to be using this Xenix board with these good preamps and real nice EQ. So that's the next project. This is one of those things where I drilled 3 large holes in it today and then popped 6 screws in it, and it was quitting time. I'm going to pretty much do it like that. It's going to be a little bit of work and a little bit of work and a little bit of work, and then we'll be done. And I'm still waiting on stuff, but it looks like this is going to be a really fun one. I love projects like this. I love taking time on it and not feeling like there's someone on the other end waiting that I've got to appease, because that just takes the fun out of it. So it's going to be awesome next year. We're going to be super loud, but we don't need to be. Just going to be powerful. It's just going to sound really good. All right, you guys, I'll see you soon. I'm so excited. Rob Fetters, my favorite guitar player, played happy birthday, sang happy birthday to our granddaughter who was born yesterday. It just so happened he was doing a live house stream concert, and I guess my wife contacted him, and they have twins. Him and his wife have twins who are 26 now, and yesterday was their birthday. So my wife was like, hey, our daughter had this baby, would you do something, would you say something or sing something? And it turned out it was his twins' birthday too. So it was just funny in the comments. It was like someone was like, oh, his twins are so cool, and I have a kid that's that same age. I'm like, loser, our grandkid was born, So it was all of a sudden he started talking about us, and I was like, I didn't know my wife had contacted him. So I was just like, and they sang happy birthday to our little granddaughter, and only one person liked it on my Facebook page.
I sent it to my mom and she liked it.
Huh?
I sent it to my mom, that clip, and she liked it.
Oh, did she? Not on my page. Her mom hates me.
Because I sent her the PM.
Yeah, I emailed her it right when it happened, and she didn't respond.
She doesn't respond to emails.
Yeah, she does not like me. All right. Oh, would you like me if I married your daughter? All right, you guys. I'll see ya.